'Twas a night before countdown, and all Raccoon City was teeming with zombies. It sure wasn't pretty. I slowly approached the disaster with care and searched for survivors, but no one was there. When up came a rumble, I dove into cover, and up rode Claire Redfield. She must find her brother, and I, agreeing to answer her plea, said, "I know where to go, the RCPD." We couldn't believe it was Marvin we found. He was bleeding to death, prostrate on the ground. As he died, he whispered one final request: help the survivors and deal with the rest. So the two of us left to set off on our search when a licker attacked in a horrible lurch. We ran down the hall away from the beast, dodging the arms of the hungry deceased. When we climbed up the stair, a child we found. But as soon as she saw us, she ran with a bound. Back down the stair, the girl we did chase, and there was poor Marvin, by a zombie replaced. With some reservation, we shot Marvin dead. "We must find the girl," were the words that Claire said. Outside, the zombie crows were cawing so shrill. They came from the sky and flew in for the kill. We shot a few birds but avoided the flock and ran back inside and bolted the lock. When all of a sudden there came such a clatter, we ran down the hall to see what was the matter. A chopper had crashed. The halls were aflame. From the fiery wreckage, the tyrant, he came. The creature was fierce. The creature was tall. No matter how much we shot, he just wouldn't fall. No choice but to run. To the library we went and found our survivor, her energy spent. Her name was Sherry, a scientist's daughter, whose parents' research begat most of this slaughter. In the labs downstairs was where they could be met. Their names were Will Birkin and his wife, Annette. But down in the basement was Irons, the chief, infected with G-virus, much to our grief. His body was mutated. It grew to great size. We quickly dispatched him and said our goodbyes. We were searching for Sherry, but found a woman instead. She was Asian, hot stuff, and dressed all in red. Her name was Ada, but that's all we knew. The underground sewer she helped us get through. But then she ran off and we followed behind, where she confronted a woman who was out of her mind. She shouted, "Thief!" and at Ada she shot, but I jumped in the way and the bullet I caught. The woman was Annette and brought shocking news. Her daughter was infected with the G-virus too, but Annette refused to give up the cure. That Ada, she said, is a spy for sure. At that very moment, the tyrant appeared, still undefeated, just as we feared. The tyrant cornered me in a most fatal threat. Ada quickly dashed in to repay her debt. The tyrant off balance, she pushed in the pit, and with a deep breath, we sighed, "I hope this is it." But Ada was wounded. She couldn't go on. Her body was lifeless. She appeared to be gone. Meanwhile, the G-virus festered and grew. The truth of its horror began to shine through. Sherry's father, infected, had started to change. Where once was Will Birkin, stood a monster deranged. This hideous thing was human no more. Even his wife became part of the gore. Annette, now dying, horribly maimed. "Please save my daughter," she weakly exclaimed. She gave us the antidote for Claire to prepare, and off we went to end this nightmare. We met up with Sherry in the security room. Now she was saved, or so we assumed. But the tyrant was back, much to our chagrin. Attacked us once more, but then Ada jumped in. She flung a bazooka and said, "Here, use this." It might not have been Ada, but that we'll dismiss. The countdown was here, 5 minutes remaining. We ran for the train, but Will Birkin was gaining. Sherry up front, we covered the back. When G's final form began the attack, with thousands of teeth and tentacles rearing, it stabbed at us quickly, drooling and sneering. I shot out the separator. The car then detached and sent that G-monster back down the tracks. With a sigh and a shiver, we were finally safe. We looked back at the horror we had somehow escaped. Claire looked to me with a question to ask. What will you do now that all this has passed? I knew now that I had to answer this call. I'll crush Umbrella, once and for all.